Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about the YSS-475 and why I think it's the Yamaha Soprano for you. Stick around and find out.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Andrew, and we're here at Alamo Music. Please visit us at our website at alamomusic.com, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to see what else we got coming out in the future. Look what I got.
A soprano saxophone.
Yes, sir, and one of the soprano saxophones. This is the Yamaha YSS-475. This is the soprano saxophone in the intermediate series in the Yamaha line. Honestly, one of my favorites. Basically, this is an instrument that, in my opinion, for the price point and the quality of build and everything like that, one of the best, can't match it.
Now, I know when I would be programming for my wind ensemble, I would only pick pieces that had soprano saxophones if I had a good player. What makes sopranos so tricky to play?
It has to do with intonation.
Okay.
So when it comes to playing alto and tenor, those are just way more popular, and they're easy to start on. When a student starts out on an instrument, the mouthpiece is larger. You don't have to worry as much about having like a nice tight embouchure around it or anything like that while still being relaxed. It's easier to start on. They make way more. It's way more popular. And it's easier to write for because with the alto and the tenor, you can kind of interchange those with other instruments in the parts, right? Especially when you're scoring.
Right.
When it comes to soprano, because it doesn't get sold as much or anything like that, a lot of companies don't really pay much attention to the quality of the build. It's super easy to get a really cheap one. The other reason being is that, well, a lot of people kind of treat this like an auxiliary instrument in that line, right? Because you're not going to be like, oh, I want to start out on the soprano. You're going to start out on an alto or a tenor. Now, when it comes to that, when you play it and everything like that, because the mouthpiece is so small, and because you have so much support that you need for it, and it's a completely different kind of embouchure to it, when you switch from the alto to the soprano, there's a lot more minute particulars when it comes down to it. So say
Pitch-wise.
yeah, exactly. So when you play and everything like that, you have to be way more consistent because of how small it is, the smaller differences mean bigger consequences.
I remember hearing a talk on instrument design and the way it was a guy named Gerhard Meinl, any tuba people out there know that name, but he was explaining how the design of the instrument, if you visualize a three-dimensional graph, you're trying to place your data point at a place where response, color, and pitch adjustability are the best average of the three. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it seems like with a soprano, manufacturers have a real challenge with that.
Absolutely. It's like hitting with a dartboard. You have to hit that bullseye every time with this. And it's so hard to do, coming from things like key height to even the neck. A lot of sopranos and stuff
Key
like
height.
that. Yeah,
that affects pitch.
Absolutely. So when you're playing a soprano or even a saxophone in general or any instrument in general, say you got down here like the low C key, if this is a little higher, everything else kind of goes out of pitch because that's where the sound's going to escape from when it plays it. So like
the
if you're
whole
playing,
horn.
Yeah. So like say if you play, or like when you play certain notes that revolve around that note.
Okay.
So like you play the low D, and the key height might be a little off and stuff like that. The pitch is completely off. And that can be an issue for a lot of players, and that can affect an intonation. And so when you have a less popular instrument and you end up buying the wrong one or something like that, that stuff's not paid attention to.
I would imagine that would affect color quite a bit too.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Now, with soprano and color and everything like that, it is super easy to have a lot of bad references. Unfortunately, when you play the instrument, it's really easy to get kind of a squawky tone, right? The mouthpieces and the reeds that come with them and stuff like that, especially with the instrument, can sometimes be in a bad quality. I always recommend when you get something like this, or even a Barry sax, kind of more extra, like the auxiliary sax ones and stuff like that, I always recommend looking into getting more of a professional mouthpiece because it can totally get in the way of the sound. Now, as far as like design aspects, one of the cool things about this instrument, in my opinion, is the neck. This is a completely solid saxophone. There's no detachable neck.
Okay.
When you go up into like the 875 series on the Yamaha, they have the detachable neck, and it actually comes with two necks. It comes with a completely straight neck, which is kind of like this one in example, or it'll come with a curved neck. So it's basically so you don't have to do, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dave Liebman, but when he plays, he's completely out like this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to other sopranos and stuff like that, with the curved neck, you can play it more like this, and it'll still go straight into your mouth.
Okay.
And then you can, play in the mic and everything like that.
Sure.
It helps out a lot. The other great thing about this instrument, they have high F sharp key, which is coming with a lot more modern saxophones these days. And the intonation on it is perfect right out of the box. We got this maybe like a week ago. I played on it a bit. It's perfect. It works great, and it's straight out of the box after being shipped.
So by perfect, what I'm kind of envisioning is you can make the pitch adjustments that you need to make without losing quality of sound.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. When it comes to saxophone playing and when it comes to that, there are a lot of horns, especially vintage horns, that you kind of have to make adjustments for as you go down.
Sure.
I know on my alto, I play on a YSS-475II, which is basically came out when the Mark VI did back in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
I have to make certain adjustments on lower end with my throat and my tongue to make sure that I'm hitting the right pitch and that it's actually in tune. Otherwise, it would come out completely flat in some cases. With this one, I don't really have those challenges. And that actually comes into the point with the price point. For an intermediate instrument, the price point this instrument's at, and I'm sure we'll have it on the screen that we have selling it right now, and we'll have it in the description if you want to check it out. The price point that this is set at is really low compared to the high value you get out of this instrument for what you want to do with it. Other sopranos you can see that reach up into like the 3500s. Those tend to be the more elite sopranos and everything like that. Or you can find the sopranos down in the kind of like the $200 to $300 range. Those can kind of be in the wrong way area too. But this one, it kind of hits that golden sweet spot. But yeah, let's try it out. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So from the sound of it, at least to my non-woodwind ear and somebody who's stood in front of groups, that sound has a more woody sound than I associate normally with a soprano saxophone.
There are definitely going to be different approaches to the soprano sound. It definitely has to do a lot with certain cultures and everything too, as far as the approach to playing and genre. Right. There's such a different area for jazz soprano as there is to classical soprano too.
Well, I think there's some I don't know, contemporary. Like when you hear a John Coltrane play a soprano, that to me has a woody sound, and then you get into the 80s and it's anything but.
Hey man, don't knock it till you try it. It works out sometimes and everything like that, but you know, with this, no matter which way you're trying to go for, it's going to help you get there. So whatever sound, whatever thing you kind of resonate with or anything like that, or whoever you resonate and want to play like,
Right.
this instrument is the perfect one to get you to that place.
Outstanding.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Alamo Music and the Band and Orchestra channel. Please visit us at alamomusic.com where we have this exact instrument available. And subscribe and hit that bell icon to see whatever content we have coming down in the pipeline. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.